The Nintendo Switch successor has been a wildly popular conversation topic here on YouTube now for probably the best part of 2 years. It's mostly what it is, all speculation, and let's face it, then a lot of clickbait. But we're finally starting now to hear some information surrounding the existence of the system. So today, we're going to be diving into the recent investor Q&A, the future of the Nintendo online infrastructure, and basically what this could all mean. My name's Alex, so this is Switch Corner. Let's get started. If you enjoy the content, consider subscribing. Here we have reviews, deals, lists daily, and also as we do move towards whenever the new system launches, expect heavy coverage around it. So regarding the highly anticipated Switch Pro, Switch 2, whatever you want to call it, the Switch successor, an investor presentation back in May kind of shed some light on the matter. It was announced that we shouldn't expect a new system within the 2023-2024 financial year, meaning the earliest possible release is going to be late April 2024. Now naturally, such statements are often made to maintain a secrecy until an official announcement is made, so whether you want to believe this information or not is entirely going to be up to you. Personally, I would be surprised if the system or the release date was revealed before the end of this year, as this would no doubt, impact their Christmas sales figures, and the system numbers, they're already slowing down, so I really don't see why they would want to do this. We also need to factor in as well here, they've already sold over 125 million units, so slowing down really is not that surprising. It's just they're not going to purposely do it themselves as well. Conversations, though, about the Switch successor are now starting to appear, and they may not be directly referencing the system, but it does suggest the release is on the horizon. So earlier this month, the CEO of Ubisoft expressed regret over the decision to release Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope on the Switch instead of waiting for that successor system. He claimed, actually, that Nintendo had advised them to hold off, but Ubisoft chose to ignore that advice, resulting in disappointing sales numbers. While I believe the game would have for sure fared better as a launch title for that new system, it's also important here to consider Ubisoft's own behaviour as well. The company is just known for offering these substantial discounts soon after release, so why wouldn't the public now wait for a better price? It's kind of a byproduct of their own past behaviour, but of course, like any company, they want to blame someone else. Now though, today we received further information in the latest investor Q&A session. Furukawa revealed Nintendo's plans for a seamless transition from the Nintendo Switch to the next generation that's going to be using Nintendo accounts, and it's what gains you access to purchase digital games, it's what they are attached to. It's also going to be things like your Nintendo rewards and your different memberships. It's not surprising either as well when you think there's a total of 290 million accounts across console and mobile platforms. That is absolutely huge. And this is the first time Nintendo has had a decent infrastructure for online, as historically they actually used Nintendo Network IDs. I'm sure many of you remember these. They actually worked fine, honestly, but they were incredibly difficult to transition. I do also want to say as well, I spent a little time translating the rest of this Q&A document, and I see now why there was no talk around it. People asked some seriously just crap questions, but this one was interesting. He goes on to state that past systems, they've often been restricted by hardware and format changes, basically, or at least that's what I took from it, and the advent of digital content makes it potentially now more convenient. No confirmation, of course, and it could be concerning if maybe they changed up the cartridges for physical collectors, but maybe we could at least get the backward compatibility many of us want, even if it is only from a digital form. In my opinion though, this answer is going to be a step in the right direction, so now let's just keep on hoping for good news in the future. You would though think it kind of be crazy not to include it, right? They have so many systems out there. Is that audience not more likely to carry over when they can bring their games with them and hopefully get an even better experience at the same time? It's no secret that recently more and more games are starting to struggle on a system with problematic performance, and yet more powerful hardware could be just a hell of a solution. I'd love to revisit a lot of my catalogue personally. Imagine Tears of the Kingdom, but stable from a frame rate perspective. Yes, the game's a masterpiece already, but I'll absolutely take a smoother running experience. Hyrule Warrior is another great example. This one tanks towards the end game, and it for sure impacts the experience. Also, things like the recent Pokemon, that thing was just, I wouldn't say a disaster. I still had fun with the game, but it had a lot of issues that could probably be solved with a little extra juice. Also, think of all of the online experiences where we often find ourselves at a disadvantage competing against players on another more powerful system. Let's kind of start getting us into that same competitive ring. The way I look at new hardware is that more power could deliver better performance. I think that's really an obvious conclusion to get to, but with the idea of transitioning games over potentially, there's a very real opportunity to see updates drop as well. You know, it's not uncommon to see a PS5 or a Series X upgrade, and I'd love to see that behavior towards the Switch library as well. I think Witcher 3, great example. It's already a miracle that game runs on the system, but imagine a visual upgrade. That would be so good for handheld play. I also think now with the future of the system, we need to kind of look towards what third-party developers are doing, and I don't know if you noticed this, but at the recent Summer Games Fest, the Nintendo Switch largely went ignored, which was definitely disappointing. I'm just kind of hoping here developers are working on a lot of these games for whatever that next system is, but naturally they cannot disclose that information just yet. But me personally, I want games like Diablo 4, I want your Call of Duties for the fans and its dedicated base out there. I want to see experiences like more recent Souls entries that can then get onto the system as well. And yes, I may be asking a little bit too much here, honestly, but it would be really great at least to see some kind of polarity between the different systems. You know, Nintendo, historically, they've never chased power, but I believe they do recognize the importance of third party to a system, and the huge amount of support clearly helped the Switch succeed, so no doubt they are thinking about that as they line up the successor as well. Now I know with that statement as well, I'm going to get plenty of comments down below saying, but I buy the system for Nintendo first party games, and I absolutely get that. They are extremely popular, and they rarely demand as much power as many AAA games out there. In fact, just Nintendo, I believe personally, they can do magical things with the hardware they do have to hand. But I think the combination of first and third party is actually what makes this system so popular. That's what got it so popular in the first place. It caters to all in a household. You know, you can whack one in your living room and you can play the latest and greatest Nintendo first party experiences. But then I can also go and play The Witcher, I can play Doom, I could jump into the world of Skyrim. I think they need that setup. That's what makes it a family console. It's not the idea of having all of these different multiplayer games and unique concepts such as Gyro, but rather there is a little of something for everyone, no matter what they are looking for, so it quickly became the popular system of choice. So yeah, overall, it may not be system news directly, but having Nintendo just discuss the advantages of Nintendo accounts and how they will help us transition smoothly is absolutely exciting. Hearing the Ubisoft CEO state they should have waited suggests to me it's in the near future, and honestly, I think it's about time. I think for many of us, we want a system that is more powerful. It give me 4K output, improved performance, a system that's just capable of supporting newer releases as well. And honestly, the last thing, it's nothing to do with the system itself, but please fix the eShop. It is a mess, a nightmare to navigate, and it just doesn't help developers succeed on the system. So what do you all think? Do you think this recent statement is a good sign, and what are you going to be taking from it? Let me know in the comments. With that, hit subscribe, join us here for reviews, deals, lists and news daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.